Hey you guys, I wanted to quickly do a Screencastify lesson, a mini lesson on the concept of show, don't tell. I've talked about this before, you've heard this before, so it's nothing brand new, but I wanted to kind of refresh your memory. So I'm gonna go kind of fast. The idea of show, don't tell is basically trying to write sentences that show the reader our feelings or the feelings of other characters, because just telling them is way too boring. So saying I was excited is not exciting. To make the reader feel your excitement, you have to show them what was your body language like, what was your heart doing, what was your hands doing, what was your facial expression doing, tone of voice, all those kinds of details will make it really come alive and give the reader a sense of empathy so that they feel it as well. Here's an example for excited. These are some of the things you might expect to see or feel or hear, in terms of behavior and sensations. Show, don't tell. So if we look at this picture, what emotion is this girl feeling? I think it's pretty obvious. She's angry, and we can she doesn't have to say she's angry. She's showing us through the way she's looking at us and standing. So, what would your eyes be doing if you're angry? Probably glaring, narrowed slits. What would your heart be doing? Probably pounding, racing. Usually anger goes hand in hand with adrenaline. So a lot of the same sensations you might have when you're nervous, you also have when you're angry. So a little bit of trembling, heart racing. Hands might be on the hips. They might be crossed in front of you. They could be wildly gesturing angrily as you're shouting. What would your feet be doing? They might be planted firmly, or they could be pacing the floor back and forth. Your stomach might be in knots. It might be feeling almost sick. Your mouth might be kind of dry, frowning, glaring, downturned corners of the mouth. So these kinds of things, even similes and metaphors are a powerful tool for showing emotion. Her eyes narrowed and she glared at me. She pursed her lips together tightly. Red hot lava began to form deep in her stomach. She put her hands on her hips. She stomped up the stairs and slammed the door. She immediately became a fire-breathing dragon. Obviously, you don't want to use all of these back to back. It would feel over the top and overdone. But, one or two of these really work to get the message across. Here are a few more. I'm not going to read all of them. Brian pursed his lips and clenched his fists into tight balls. Try as he might, he could not contain himself. We can tell he's angry. Down at the bottom, an ache started deep in his stomach. He turned away as his eyes welled up with tears. We can tell that he's sad. So for your practice, I have a couple tasks for you. First of all, I'm going to push out a Google Doc that you can type directly on. On the following slide is a list of 8 emotions, and these emotions will also be listed on that Google Doc. Shocked, shy, worried, scared, confused, embarrassed, excited, sad. And so what you'll do on your Google Doc is practice this technique, this show, don't tell technique, by writing a sentence for each emotion. If you want to write more than one, you can. You can make this sentence focus on different characters, use the same character for each one. They can be from your perspective or other characters, made up fictional characters, or people from your personal narrative story. I don't care, because this is just practice. So just be creative and have fun with this. Do not actually use any of the emotion words like scared, excited, happy, sad, etc. at any point in your sentences. Instead, focus on things like body language, bodily sensations, facial expressions, tone of voice, metaphors, and similes to show readers that the character felt that emotion. So here's an example from the book Owl Moon. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. So I can tell that they felt fear here, even though they never explicitly tell me that. It's obvious. One other task for you is to go back into your actual personal narrative and find at least one telling sentence in your story that shares an emotion and put a strike through it, like where it says, I was scared. I'm going to cross that off, and I'm going to write a new sentence using showing words. For example, my mouth went dry and I could feel my heart racing. A cold jolt of adrenaline coursed through my veins. Look for other places in your story where you can do this, but don't feel like you have to go totally overboard.